Homeboy Official. What is up, guys? What is up? I'm driving over to a parking spot. Been recording a lot today. It's Sunday. It is 7:22 p.m. Basically just been recording and resting today. Spotify for podcasters. Okay, I'm gonna give a little rant on my 5 to 7 minute little drive over to where I'm gonna park and continue this recording. We're gonna be talking about a topic about something that studs say about maybe not wanting dominant femmes to approach them or ask them out or whatever. So that's going to be the topic, but while I'm driving to where I want to chill, I guess the topic that I want to talk about, just some basic stuff going on. Spotify for podcasters has made some changes. Again, this is the first time I'm recording an episode about these changes, but these changes are different. They kind of botched an update, in my opinion, with the app. Now, I'm not even able to log back into my app, which is why my recordings have slowed down. One of the reasons why my recordings have slowed down is because this platform isn't working out too well as far as the convenience of how it used to be. It used to be super convenient. All you would do is, record in the app, and the worst case scenario is you lose an episode because, maybe your Wi-Fi disconnects mid-recording or something, or your Wi-Fi changes or it glitches, and then that would contribute to issues with like uploading and saving and stuff. But that was, those occurrences were few and far between. I mean, over like almost a 4-year period, 3 to 4 years, I don't think I even experienced that 10 times that I can fully remember. It seems like it maybe happened 5 to 7 times or so, but I could be wrong. And I recorded a lot. I used to record a lot, as you guys recall. So I'm not able to log into the app at all right now on any of my accounts. I don't know why. I don't know to what extent this is going to last with this issue, or if it's fixable, but it doesn't really matter because now the Spotify for Podcasters app doesn't really have a record or edit or upload of audio option. All you can really do is look at comments, respond to comments, check your analytics, and kind of like look at traffic and see the categories of people that are kind of listening and downloading your episodes. That is not what I would expect from a podcasting app, because it doesn't have any podcasting features other than some of it with engagement. But it really doesn't have any like actual like features that you can use to podcast. So I don't really understand how that update was approved. Now there is some talk about people being hopeful that there might be some changes experienced. People are a little bit hopeful right now that Riverside might provide an option or an opportunity for people to have some kind of upload option. Now, I don't really know for sure, but that's just kind of what I've gathered from reading comments and things. People are kind of requesting and questioning if that's going to be an option that rolls out. If no option rolls out that's like that, then we basically just have to be stuck like what I'm doing right now, recording recording like I'm doing right now, and that's just, recording on my phone and then having to come back in like at a later time. That's kind of all we can really do right now. But I'm not too stressed about it because there are options. We do have this option to still record through the phone. It's just extra steps. Like I said, the extra steps are what is kind of getting in the way of me being as productive as I'd want to be. But if I can take those extra steps, then there are opportunities to still upload or just wait till I'm home and use my what do you call it? Use my laptop. So those are kind of what the options look like. But it slows things down. And I apologize, my brain is like operating in slow motion. I don't think the past couple nights I slept like as well as I could, but I've tried to rest during the day. So Saturday I was able to kind of rest more, even though I didn't sleep that good Friday night because I slept so late and then woke up early. And then last night I was enjoying myself staying up late. I kind of fell asleep and then woke up early, stayed up for a little, like way early. It was like 1:30 in the morning or something. And then I stayed up for a little bit, went back to sleep, woke up around 6:30 or so, 6:45, and kind of started my day, and then was kind of like hoping to get a nap in, which I kind of did. I was kind of in and out of sleep between the motorcycles driving by and stuff, waking me. But I kind of got in a little bit of napping this afternoon. I'm kind of feeling a little bicep pump going on here. I actually worked out this morning. Well, I foam rolled and did some like body work exercises. But I don't know if that helped my back. It felt like my back was kind of hurting more after that, which is why I kind of took more downtime and relaxed more until about 12:30. I had a light lunch. So I had a breakfast burrito from this organic spot. Had a light lunch of some cherries, some strawberries, and a cup of coffee. And then did a little hydration. And then waited till maybe 4:30 and had like an instant lasagna for dinner. Not all of it. Not a whole giant one, like one of those personal sized ones. So I've been having like one smaller meal a day, either a smaller dinner, usually a bigger lunch. Today was kind of flipped. But I feel like I'm noticing some results. Tummy wise, it's feeling a little, not tighter, but a little less bloated. And like I said, I'm feeling a little bit of arm pump this evening. Maybe from this morning, maybe from the consecutive days of doing some forms of exercise, and from eating a little lighter. I'm not necessarily dieting. I'm just eating more fruits, basically. Maybe TMI, I was a little bit backed up this morning, probably some from the Peruvian food I ate last night with all the oils in it and stuff, and then So that kind of was weird on my intestines today. And I didn't have coffee till like 12:30. So I didn't have that coffee to kind of like get the stuff out of me. Um, but I've taken a probiotic since then and some legal shroom gummies and had coffee since then. And ever since the afternoon, my intestinal situation has been kind of loosening itself. But I'm a little. That's kind of like between that and my back today. I kind of mostly just stayed in, but I think I needed it. I needed the rest. But let's jump into something more fun than all of my concerns and conditions. Because things are okay. I feel fine now. My back feels fine now. I don't know what the heck was going on, but maybe I just needed to rest it more. Um, Maybe the foam rolling hurt me. I don't really know if that's what was going on, but maybe it hurt me, or maybe I slept wrong. I was expecting that the little exercise in the morning was going to actually help me, but it seemed like it led to some pain. It's just tricky to figure out what's going to help and what's not going to help. But that would have been like the third day or fourth day in a row of like foam rolling, so maybe it was too many days of the same kind of exercising in the same areas, kind of like maybe it created more pain or something, like it's getting too much attention or something. Studs. I don't consider myself a stud. I consider myself, female that has some masculine presenting qualities. I don't really care what gender people call me, depending on how they do it and like the setting and like under what circumstances those comments occur and kind of like the energy around it. But I mean, I get mistaken for a dude all the time. I'm not offended by it. I call it getting sirred. You got sirred. It happens quite often. I'm not upset by it. Usually it happens in like retail and restaurant types of spaces, which are probably fine. Like, I don't really care. I feel like other people feel more awkward about it. Like when a staff makes a mistake about it, they feel weirder about it than I do. Or seem a little more awkward about it than I do. I just kind of either blush or giggle. Like I don't know what else to say. Like I'm just kind of like, I don't correct them. I just kind of move on with what I'm doing there. Like usually once I start to speak, they realize like you're not a dude. But it's fine. Like they're going based on how I'm dressed and everything, and I don't have like super long hair, and it's whatever. It's not a big deal to me. I think maybe I'm not like curvy enough. Like I feel like I'm pretty curvy and a little on the getting plump side, but maybe I'm not curvy enough to really be easily seen as female. Because I have a chest and a butt and some hips. I mean, they're not non-existent. I mean, they're not like the biggest you've ever seen, but they're also not invisible. And I do wear kind of fitted clothing. It's not super baggy, but it's not super tight, but it's also like guys cut of clothing, so I kind of think just the cut is what's throwing people off. Maybe the energy, maybe the mannerisms, I don't really know. It doesn't really matter to me. It's not a big deal. But yeah, that's mostly how I've been feeling as far as that. Like I'd say the closest thing that people might call me would be like a STEM, but I don't know. There's not really a lot of like, I'm into the emotional stuff on the feminine end, and kind of like I think I have like a female social style for the most part, as far as how I like to engage with people and like interact, and like I'm kind of sociable. I'm on the sensitive side. I don't know how obvious that is, but I am. Which is why I'm always ranting and complaining on here about all the things that are, that might upset me here and there. I can get easily upset or bothered by things, but I try not to really dwell on it. And lately, I've been feeling a lot better. So I still rant, but lately I have been feeling a lot better, and that definitely changes my tone a lot too. But yeah, I don't really use terms like stud and stem just because I don't really, I haven't really opted into the culture of that terminology. Um, I'd say most people would probably assume I'm like non-binary or like gender non-conforming. I don't really have a lot of conventional methods to me with gender related stuff. I just do what interests me and what feels comfortable for me, and I can tell that when I interact with mainstream society, there are things that I have to consider. Like if my friend wants to go to a birthday party or have a birthday party, that happened the other week. I didn't get to go, but my friend was gonna have a birthday party, and I was just thinking like, if I can go, I was like, oh no, like, what's the dress code gonna be? Can I wear a hat? Can I wear shorts? Can I wear a button down? Do I have to wear a dress? Like, what is the setting? Because there are places with dress codes. I have been turned away for dress code reasons, mostly because of wearing shorts. But I've explained it before. Like my friend was wearing shorts, but it was like a skirt. It was like no, they were shorts. It wasn't a skirt. It was leather shorts that were like feminine, kind of like tight, short, little booty shorts. That she was wearing, and she didn't get turned away. But I was wearing um, kind of like cargo shorts, but they were black cargo shorts technically, but like a nice material, kind of like they're like those board shorts that are like nice material. They almost look like Dockers or something, but the color was black, and they were Waterman Quicksilver board shorts that I wear like almost exclusively. I need another pair because I wear them so much that they're pretty worn out now, but those are my favorite shorts, and I wear them almost every time I go out, and I kind of need to upgrade. But they have a lot of pockets, and they look nice overall compared to all my other shorts. Um, but yeah, that some clubs aren't gonna let you in wearing that. I had to go back and change and put on some chinos, and then I was allowed in. But it's like people don't know what to do with people like us sometimes. They kind of like they're like, okay, well this is the rule we've made for them, so. But I'm kind of like, okay, it's kind of funny how they were like no shorts, but I'm just looking at my female friend that walks up in front of me, and I'm like, okay, no shorts, but she's wearing shorts. It's like, oh, I can't wear masculine presenting shorts. If I'm dressed kind of masculine presenting, I have to meet the masculine presenting dress code. Or if I'm gonna wear shorts, they have to be like tight little girly shorts. I can't wear masculine shorts to a club, but femme women can wear like short booty shorts. But yeah, I don't make the rules, you know. But yeah, I don't really consider myself a stud, but I do like topics by studs, or about studs. If someone looked at me without me talking, without me saying anything, maybe just a photo, depending on the day, they might assume I'm a stud just because racially and maybe how I dress a little bit. But I don't tend to have like that exterior that like I don't try to present as like a tough person. I might be grumpy or irritable, but I don't really try to be like tough. Like I try to exhibit more of my sensitive side. That's more authentically who I am, but I can be pretty defensive with it too because it does put me at a vulnerability to be expressing more sensitivity, compassion, things like that. Like people, they don't take advantage of it, but you know, if you maybe present a little masculine, but then you're a sensitive person, people kind of people like it. I wouldn't say people are opposed to it, but the people who kind of have like an ego trip about masculinity. Dare I say men? Um, there might be some guys out there that want to challenge that more because they're like, oh, like you're kind of soft, kind of thing. You know, I don't really tend to like. I don't step to people. I don't really tend to like. There's only one situation that I can recall where we were sitting at a rave. One of my friends was sitting next to me, and some dude was like touching my friend, their hair, their shoulders, like massaging their shoulders, or kind of like hands on their shoulders. My friend did not know this guy. My friend was saying, stop, kind of leave me alone, you know. And the guy keeps doing it. He's kind of being almost like flirty. Um, my friend is very mask presenting. The guy was kind of being flirty. And I kind of realized it was a problem. So I'm sitting next to my friend. This guy's like behind us at these kind of like public like steps. So we're sitting on the steps, but then there's people sitting on the steps in front of us. We're sitting on the middle steps, and then the top steps, people were like standing behind us. And so like crowds of people standing behind us, and crowds of people sitting on the steps, and then crowds of people standing in front of those people who were on the steps. But it was just like the steps were the only place to really sit. So we were sitting on the steps, and there were people behind us, all like around behind us, and this guy just is like touching her and stuff. And you know, I kind of, you know, this is in the middle of a concert, so I'm not really like paying attention. And then I kind of like catch on to like, this guy's like being annoying. So I'm kind of just listening, and I kind of see my friend kind of like trying to like shrug their shoulders, kind of like stop, you know, like stop, dude, or like whatever, you know. And I had been hearing that a little bit before, but I was like, I thought maybe the guy would just get the hint. So I didn't really notice that it was going on. It was probably going on for like a good maybe 1 to 2 minutes. And I stood up, I think at the point where the guy like runs his hands through my friend's hair. Because my friend's sitting there, and this guy's like touching this person after they've been saying stop multiple times. And you know, I just kind of stood up, and I was kind of like, what's up, you know. And I could tell, like, it was kind of one of those things, because I'm like, I'm not gonna fight anybody, but I'm like, I kind of know a lot of times how people see. Sometimes they might perceive a threat of like a black person. And so I kind of was using that more to my advantage, because I'm like, well, I'm not dressed femme. I'm wearing this cap. I might present as a dude to this person. And the way I kind of stood up was kind of like, what's up? Kind of just looked him in the eye. And he started like evading eye contact. And I'm just kind of staring him down. I'm not really like saying much. Just kind of like saying to stop. And I was like, I would have rather engaged him in a conversation, but I could kind of tell he wasn't really gonna talk. Like, he was like gone, which is no excuse, but he was like on something, gone, I'm pretty sure. And if he wasn't, either way, drugs or no drugs, there's no excuse for his behavior. Eventually the other person stands up and starts like screaming at him, the other friend, because there were 3 of us there, and the other friend stands up and just starts like screaming at him. And it took a while of this other friend screaming at him for him to finally just F off, you know. But that was the most I ever asserted any kind of like, just because my friend was being bothered, and I was like, I could tell they're uncomfortable, and I'm just like, this guy's not leaving them alone. And you know, I can't just not say anything. I gotta say something. And we were all sitting there, and then I stood, like, when I stood up, and I was like, but the problem was I wanted to be, like, up on the step where he was, but I was like, if he pushes me or gets, like, physical, that's different. So I stayed on that lower step, but I thought about it. I was like, I could get up in this guy's face and just, like, kind of nudge him out of the way or, like, flag down security or something, but I was like, he should get kicked out. Like, I don't think he should even, like, be allowed to stay after that. But when the other one stood up and started just, like, screaming in his face, he finally left. But it took a long time. Like, it was probably like a 3 or 4 minute situation where this guy was just kind of, like, there, and nobody else was stepping in to try to help. I don't know if he was alone, like, whatever. But that's just what I'm saying. Like, I don't usually, approach people, you know. It has to be a setting like that where I'm like, my friend is getting bothered, I'm gonna step up. Like, you know, even if it was someone bothering me, I don't even know if I would have reacted like that as much just for myself. It was mostly just for my friend. And so I don't really know what um um as far as, like, stem, stud, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's not true that stems are, like, more, like, aggressive, like outwardly aggressive without being provoked. But I do kind of get that vibe, like, culturally. There is maybe more of a um more of a masculine energy and a desire to stay within that masculine energy more so than what I do naturally. That's why I would probably say I'm not a stud. If somebody refers to me as one, it wouldn't bother me, but I wouldn't call myself a stud. Um, I do like the feminine aspects of myself too, just other aspects of the femininity, not so much the social norms of things. Like, those are the parts that make it difficult. It's like, I wouldn't say that I'm not feminine. It's just the social expectations of, like, the rigidity around, like, clothing and hobbies and interests and colors that you can wear and types of fabrics, if it has, like, lace or whatever. Like, there's some rigidity around it. But I I like um I kind of like, just how I am. Cuz it's how I am. I'm not trying to act, like, extra tough or, you know. So the question that came up on this Studs RN, or Studs Right Now, um Instagram was, do why don't studs like for femme presenting lesbians to assert dominance and approach them? Why don't why don't studs want that? Because there's also this complaint that studs sometimes say, or masculine presenting, people who are into females say, "Oh, I only get straight women approaching me and not lesbians." But then it's like, well, if you want lesbians approaching you, you have to be, like, comfortable. So I guess this person heard from studs they were talking to, this femme person heard that studs don't want to be approached. And, I kind of take the stance, I don't know if because I don't want to be like, oh, get out of your ego kind of thing, because you could say that about anything, about, like, someone trying to put me in a frilly dress, like, it could seem like to someone that I'm not comfortable with that because I think the feminine look is something that's too soft or too demeaning, or there's some negative connotation about, like, oh, I have to change if I'm gonna wear this. I have to change my self. Um, but I feel like I just naturally don't fit in dresses. Like, physically, I fit in them, but my nature, my mannerisms, just how I am, like, to make it look like I'm supposed to be in this dress, I gotta sit a certain way. Like, my posture isn't very, like, dress dress appropriate. I don't, like, cross my legs. I sit all, like, legs all open and everything. Like, I don't really look like I belong in a dress. Like, I don't really fit that energy. But I don't really think of it as, like, negative. Like, I like dresses on people, just not on myself. Um, and I like skirts on people, just not on myself. Um, my exception is, like, like a tribal wrap or something like that, like a tribal print wrap. I'd probably be more comfortable with something like more tribal garb. Um, because to me that isn't very feminine. As far as the shape, it doesn't, cling. It's just that's more my style. If I had to choose, that would be more my style. Um, but I do think for some studs, if a femme person approaches them, asks them out, asks them on a date, approaches them on the dance floor at a bar, let me buy you a drink, do you want to talk, kind of thing, and is the first one to make a move, I think sometimes people don't like that. Like, people don't. I think sometimes studs don't like that. It's hard for me to see it as something that's not like an ego-based thing, but it might just be a comfort level thing. Like, okay, that kind of gets in the way of their sense of masculinity. I mean, I've kind of felt that before too when I've been with guys who want to do stuff that they won't let me do, whatever the task is, because I'm a woman, and they want to do it, and I'm just kind of like, I can do it. Like, it's not a big deal. Um, I've talked about it before. I'm not going to go into the whole story, but how I was with a guy who kind of made a comment. Well, at the beach bonfire, I just started shoveling out the pit, and the guy in charge was saying, somebody needs to wash the dishes, somebody needs to shovel out the pit. And then he kind of, I just picked up the shovel because I was closest to it and just started shoveling. And then the guy was just like, oh, why don't I do that? Why don't I do the shovel and you take this other stuff? Why don't you do the dishes? I kind of took a bit of offense to that. I was kind of like, I can shovel. It's not that heavy. It's not like we're building anything. It's like, how long does it take to shovel sand out of a fire pit? It's not that long. It'll be done in like a couple minutes. Like, it wasn't a big deal. I don't remember if we exchanged. I remember just explaining, like, it's okay, I can do manual labor. Like, I'm used to it, like, I'm used to doing manual labor. You have African parents, you learn how to do manual labor. Like, it's just part of how it works. I don't remember if we switched. I don't think we switched. I don't think we switched. I'm trying to think if we did. That's why I'm stalling. I'm like, no, I don't think we switched tasks because I don't remember washing the dishes. I really don't remember washing the dishes. But I don't fully remember. Um, but yeah, that guy was always carrying my stuff. You know, he would carry my guitar, he would carry my, if I had a lot of stuff, if I went shopping and bought something, he'd carry the bags, like, but it's a nice gesture. I don't think he was trying to be a jerk. I knew where it was coming from. I don't think he was like, oh, like, I'm masculine trying to assert my dominance. Like, he was one of the few guys I knew, honestly, that didn't really treat me that way. Like, we would go do stuff and, like, he was never like, oh, why don't you wear dresses more or whatever. Like, he'd compliment some of my outfits and say, oh, like, you look really cool in that, or, like, whatever. Or, like, he kind of, like, compliment my style and things, and, like, I was kind of like, okay, like, I don't really want to get too much into talking about situations with him, but overall with him, things were great, though. It wasn't like a bad experience. That's just one where I was kind of like, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Um, there's only one other experience with him that I felt like, that one I could be like, like, it was just a little, like, maybe he doesn't really fully get my personality. And then another situation was more like he was a little rude to me, I felt. But that only happened once, where he was kind of rude. Once. It was like one sentence he said. Like, we weren't, like, arguing or anything. He just, like, said it in a really rude way. Because he was probably stressed, and, like, there was, like, a time crunch and stuff, and, like, we were supposed to meet somewhere, but I didn't really know where to, like, I was there, parked in the parking structure, but he told me to meet him at a certain, building, but I didn't know, like, where to meet. And so I kind of just stayed in the car, and he was just kind of like, I'm waiting for you, kind of thing. And I was just kind of like, oh, I'm still, like, in the car. But then he kind of changed his tone. He's like, oh, yeah, I remember you saying you kind of needed to, like, make a pit stop or whatever. Like, but yeah, that was, like, the most. So, like, I feel like where it was coming from with this guy with the shovel and the dishes kind of thing, like, I don't think it was coming from, like, a place of, like, I'm the man and you're the woman. Like, he was always trying to take, like, physical burdens off of me. Especially if he wasn't, like, overburdened carrying a bunch of stuff. If he saw me carrying a bunch of heavy stuff or whatever, he would usually try to pitch in and help. But I don't know, like, I don't know. If I knew a female that was like that, which I don't, but if I did, I don't really think I'd be like, I don't think it would be like the same experience. I don't think I'd be offended or bothered as much by a femme woman trying to do things for me. I don't know any femme women that are very assertive or, wanting to kind of, like, carry a bunch of stuff or whatever. Like, I don't really know a lot of women like that, who try to assert their dominance over me with different types of masculine kind of traits or activities. Stereotypically, anybody can ask anybody out, but when I think about people who have approached me, like, before I've approached them, I don't think it's usually, like, very femme women. It's usually kind of hobby-wise. It seems to me to be, like, women that are kind of tomboyish in their hobbies and their interests. Like, they're not super femme. They might dress very femme at times, or kind of more casual at other times. But they do kind of like they don't really go to the masculine clothing, but as far as like interests, hobbies, and things like that, their hobbies are somewhere between neutral and maybe they like sports, play sports, join teams of sports. They're kind of sporty, or they're kind of athletic, or like gym rats, or uh, just not like really femme women. Like I don't think I've been approached by women with like the I don't even know the names of the clothing, like clothes that are like super short, revealing stuff, and like the nails and the makeup and the hair. Like I don't think I've been approached by that many by women that are usually that way, like with their own style. I think of the times I've been approached, it's usually been by women that were more femme than me, but not as femme as like a high femme, or like someone who, like when they go out, they kind of get dolled up, with the makeup and the nails and the heels and all that. Like they'll still wear like sneakers, or if they wear heels or whatever, usually they're not wearing like a dress, or even if they do wear dresses, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like I have a couple female friends that wear dresses. I don't really know that many women that I hang out with that wear dresses on like a regular basis. I'd say maybe 3 to 4, maybe 5. I don't know. Maybe I know a lot that wear dresses. But I also know a lot that I've never seen them wear a dress. And the women who've approached me in my past, I don't remember. I don't remember there being a whole lot of them that were. I was trying to get these windows right. I don't remember a whole lot of them that were, super effeminate. As far as when I first met them, I'm talking just like clubs, bars, lines, prides. But I don't know. I think I also missed the mark a lot. I think sometimes when people are talking to me, I don't understand what they're trying to do. Like I'm not like replaying situations in my head like out of anxiety necessarily, but I take for example some situations I've been in where, say for example, there was a situation where I was with a couple friends at a gay bar that has a dance floor in San Diego. One guy friend, one female friend. We're just like dancing, jamming. Every now and then we go out to the patio. And I talked about this a little bit before. This guy started talking about like not trying to fight us, but talking about like the concept of fights and like the topic of like fighting, and like I'm scrappy, I could fight, like kind of thing. Like, but he wasn't like being aggressive with us or like trying to fight or trying to pick a fight. It was just topic of conversation. He wanted to talk about fighting, and he was the one kind of like who opened the conversation. But I was thinking, when I look back on that, potentially she could have. He was there with this lady friend of his, and technically, he could have come. She could have wanted to meet one of the three of us, and he was just kind of making small talk to kind of get a foot in the door. Maybe she was interested, because I don't know if he was interested in any of us, but she might have been, and he might have been trying to be like a wingman. And I kind of, when I thought back about it, I was like, I totally missed the mark, because I could have talked to her. Like, I have some things I could have said to her, but I didn't really say anything. I wasn't really like trying to, I don't know. I wasn't like not into like her appearance or whatever. Um, she was a nicotine smoker, but it's kind of like I don't know. Like I feel like she would have been easy to talk to possibly because she was kind of there, kind of quieter, and I was like, I could have potentially talked to her. So that's like the most recent, one of the most recent situations. But another situation I would say, and she was, I don't know if I would say she was like femme. She was maybe femme-ish, femme-esque. I think she was probably wearing like fitted jeans or something. Um, maybe like are they called halter tops? Like a tank top with like spaghetti strap kind of um shoulders and just like a half tank top, like her kind of mid was showing. Um, I think that's what she was wearing, and just kind of like some fitted jeans or something. Um, Probably sneakers. I'm not sure what she was wearing for shoes. But she was just out there on a smoke break, and he was just kind of chit chatting, chattering all over the place. But she was kind of like starting a little bit to engage. I noticed her kind of starting to like engage a little bit more. Um, but I was like, I could have talked to her. I don't know why. I was pretty off my game that day. Honestly, I was pretty like not um, recognizing that hey, I can meet people. I just was kind of not. It just wasn't on my mind at all. And I was kind of tired at that point, thinking like, oh, when am I gonna leave? I was kind of getting tired and ready to like leave soon. So my energy was pretty low. But looking back, I'm like, I could have talked to her. I wouldn't have minded trying to talk to her. Like he was already just talking nonsense, and so I was like, I could have like said something. Because I don't mind talking to people. Like if we're already there as a group, and like we were gonna sit and talk to them for a while anyways. Like my friends were drinking, and like they were the people. They were kind of engaging in this conversation. I'm like, we're gonna be here a bit. Um, but yeah, I don't know if I've ever had someone approach me where I felt like emasculated by the fact that they're too femme. Um, by the fact that they're very femme trying to approach me. Um, and I'm also not unattracted to non-femme people. Maybe that's what it is. Because maybe, for the studs that only are attracted to femmes, that might make a little sense. Maybe. I mean, I'm not like knocking it. I'm just saying for myself, I don't really feel that way. If someone else feels that way, I wouldn't want to make them uncomfortable or say that like, oh, screw that. Who cares how uncomfortable they are with it? I'd like to know more about why they're uncomfortable with it. I'm just guessing that it's because of the masculinity, you know, the the roles, the stereotypical masculine roles. If someone is stereotypically, more gravitating towards masculine roles, and that's their comfort zone, and they don't like the feminine roles, and when it comes to someone making the first move, asking somebody out, what their roles look like, it kind of makes sense to me because there are some roles where I'm like, if somebody tells me don't do physical labor, go do the dishes. I mean, of course, I've never had anybody say it in that tone, but if somebody was like, "Why are you out here with the men doing yard work? Go get back in the kitchen with the other women," kind of thing. I would be like, "What?" Like if an uncle or somebody said that to me, I would be like, "Excuse you?" Like I'm still contributing to this family work. Like just let me work. And I also wasn't raised in a household where there are like men and fit and female jobs. Like of course if something's too big or too heavy, for my little girly arms, like, I'll try to like do manual stuff, but sometimes I might not be able to. But like the other day, I had a door, my door hinge, the top the top hinge, the screws weren't catching in the wood because it's, the wood was kind of stripped because it's old. And I found a kit and bought a power tool and freaking fixed the freaking door. I mean, it was like that for like a week, maybe up to 10 days or so. I let it kind of go. And when my dad was home, that would have been something as like, oh, call the handyman friend that we have, or call someone who's a man who can come fix it, or call a handyman. Like, not necessarily because they're a man, but like, I don't think my parents would assume, oh, you can fix that yourself. Like my parents, like when it comes to stuff, they're not going to be like, oh, you know how to fix that. Like, you know how to just take it apart and like fix it and use a power drill. And like my mom said that to me once, like way back when she was like, I remember I was studying and I was fixing, when I left to go study for the day, she took some of my Venetian blinds out of my room and took them outside, kind of sprayed them. Nice gesture, sprayed them, cleaned them off because they were like dusty, dirty, grimy. She sprays them, cleans them off. Of the dusty, dirty, grimy, she sprays them and cleans them off. And then I just kind of, I came home a little like grumpy because I was like, I was done at the library or coffee shop or wherever it was I was spending my weekend, studying in school and stuff. And I come home, thinking, okay, college student, want to just relax in my room, have some privacy, but I come into my room and there's no curtains. So I can't just like chill in my room because my parents were always out in the yard and they're gardening, and my bedroom has a window out to the yard and stuff. So I was just thinking like, I don't have any privacy. Like I can't just like chill in my room without any curtains, And so I start helping my mom. I'm like, okay, well, this is going to go so slow. If I have to like wait for her, she's like, oh, they're dry, but I just have to put them back on. I was like, I don't want to like have her in my room and have me somewhere else while she's like trying to put my curtains back on. So I just grabbed the drill and just drilled the things back on the way that they were supposed to go. And she was kind of like, oh, you're really good with like, with this. Like, that's probably the first time. Like, I just picked up the freaking drill and just like, because I think I don't know what they're called. There are two like metal clasp type of things that hold in the top of the curtains. There's like a rod, but there was like a clasp to hold them in. Like the rod was removed, and then there were clasps that were kind of like jiggling around and stuff and weren't like stable in place. So we couldn't put the rod in, therefore the curtains couldn't stay. And so I just basically got the power drill or a screwdriver or something and just kind of like screwed them into place real quick. Once I figured out how they worked and which direction the little like hinge part needed to move and stuff, and I figured that out and then just put it together and just put up the blinds. And she was just kind of like looking at me like, what? Like, how do you know how to do that? And it's like, I'm not afraid to just like use a drill or just like drill something into a wall or like whatever. Like, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not fearful of that kind of thing. But that's also a side of me that a lot of people don't get to see, because I'm not always just like running around fixing stuff. But yeah, like I can understand why some people aren't comfortable with that that masculinity being kind of like asserted. If it is kind of out of someone's comfort zone, I kind of do get that. Some people do mind it. I do think sometimes it's from an ego place, but other times it's not. Like it's more of like a gender related thing, like a preference or a comfort that's related to like gender stereotypes. Um, like they don't want a femme approaching them because that's out of their comfort zone, you know? Like, like if an aunt told me to go in the kitchen with my female cousins and work with them versus if like an uncle said it, go in the kitchen and work with your female cousins, that I might take it differently from a guy than from a woman, even if the male wasn't assuming, oh, because you're female we need you washing the dishes. Like even with my friend in that situation with that guy that I was telling you about, even if he wasn't saying it as like, oh, you're a woman therefore you should be the one washing the dishes, it's just it was the easier of the two tasks on a manual end. And historically he's been known to take physical burdens off of my hand, carrying my guitar, if I'm carrying groceries, whatever. He would carry like the excess of things that I might be carrying, or help out with carrying stuff. If he wasn't carrying anything, he didn't want to be like not carrying anything. He'd always help me carrying stuff. And so like the physical part, he would always kind of pitch in with stuff. And that was pretty cool of him. You know, I like that. And but for some reason with the dishes, I think it was just that gender stereotype with the role with the dishes specifically, because it was a difference between like shoveling the pit versus washing the dishes. But this was all happening at the beach, and so it's like it's not even like there's a kitchen or like a yard or whatever. It's like these are just like camping related types of like, you know, maintenance, you know, types of tasks that somebody has to do. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't think I've ever been with somebody where the gender roles were so strict on me, to where it was a discomfort. Um, and like I was saying, I'm not only attracted to femme women. There's like a spectrum of attraction that I have for different genders of people. So it's I think for me it's a little bit different because I don't really have too much of a hang up with other people doing stuff, as long as I can still do the stuff I need to do for my own comfort, I guess. Like say for example, if I met a person who was born male who kind of talked more effeminate, acted more effeminate, was you know, non-binary, like to be called she they, and you know, wore lip gloss and halter tops and the little shorts and things, glitter and things like that, and they wanted to go out, me and them go out on dates, and it was an attraction that we had to one another. And if this person maybe flipped the gender roles, and because they were kind of femme, wanted me to pay for everything, wanted me to open all the doors, wanted me to be the breadwinner, wanted me to kind of be in that aggressor, protector, provider role, I don't think that would work for me. Because I don't see myself just solely in that role. You know, I would be more. I would be more. I would be. I'd probably be more. I mean, of course, I don't mind providing for people, but I don't want to be like a sugar mama or something. I don't want to be the one who is expected to take out the trash and kill the spiders and fix the cars and stuff, but I might, you know, I might be the one who likes to fix the cars and fix the computers and like drill the stuff into the walls and stuff. that's stuff I enjoy doing just naturally by myself. I do it anyways. And so, if someone wanted me to take on some of those roles, but it was some of the time, I could see myself having that interest. Because just naturally, I'm already kind of curious and interested in those types of tasks and hobbies anyway. So I wouldn't really see myself being like not wanting to do it. It's just if they were like an aggressor, not an aggressor, sorry. I'm losing my concentration because one of the cars where I'm parked at kind of moved to the other side. Where I park, there are always the same people parked, and so like there's only certain times a day you can park in certain places, and I think certain people sleep in these places. I just come here to podcast, but I don't want people to think I either podcast here or play like guitar and stuff, but I just do it for privacy and space and fresh air. I'm not like living in my car, but I feel like some people are kind of like living in their cars, which is fine. I mean, I feel for people, but I'm not here to like spy on them or, make their life difficult. I'm just kind of here to record. So I don't want people feeling like suspicious and trying to like figure out what I'm doing when I'm just literally here recording a podcast episode about my gay topics. But yeah, if I put that scenario of like, I'm picturing someone that I saw one Pride that I was like thinking like that person's kind of a cutie. But a lot of femme energy, but born a guy. I don't know I didn't talk to them enough to kind of know more about like them, but if I think about trans guys I've gone out on dates with, I've not really I don't think I've ever been treated by a trans guy or a non-binary person as like you need to stick to those feminine roles because you're a woman kind of thing. There's usually more conversation with them about like kind of like what are your interests with that kind of stuff, like what do you like, you know, is it I think someone asked me before when they were trying to clarify if I label myself as genderqueer or queer like sexuality wise. We had a long conversation about that. And yeah, I'm kind of into the gender conversations, especially when it's a date related thing and trying to get to know each other. Like, I don't really like having those conversations with certain people because of where it's coming from, maybe. But yeah, I don't really mind having them like those conversations on dates. I don't like people that try to like challenge me on it. It's like, dude, if you've known me since I was a kid, I have been like this. Like, and I think that's why I have an easy time with men that I grew up with, because they know me like this. We grew up playing sports together. They knew that I didn't like wearing dresses when they saw me wearing dresses. They knew I wasn't into it. They always knew I brought a change of clothes, and as fast as whatever the event was that would end, I would change directly out of that stuff into something more comfortable for me. Like the guys I grew up with see that, they know that. they know if they're gonna buy me something, you know, you're not gonna buy me a dress. I'm never gonna wear the freaking thing. Um, Now there was a period of time in. Okay, can I tell this story? Let me think about it a little bit. I think it's safe to tell this story because it's like a coming of age story. So there was a time when I was in let's say I was about I don't know, probably at least 18, maybe 18 to 20, 21. You know, me and some guy friends that I was, you know, always with we went to church together and stuff. We started some of them were dating, some of them were not quite dating a lot, but they had interest in girls and stuff. They started to a little bit. Um, that changed some of the dynamics of our hanging out and everything. Um, some of the time it did. Um, but this one particular situation, I remember my guy friends getting me these. I think the first calendar they got me was a Chippendales calendar, and then the next one was some other calendar. I can't remember what it was. It was like some guys, like hottest guys or something. Um, just some guys without their shirts on, but they were like younger than like the Chippendales guys. They were kind of like, and like not as muscular, but they were like probably guys in like their 20s to 30s, like probably in their 20s, probably guys like in their 20s that were like models or something. But they weren't like too beefy. They were fit and athletic, but they weren't like super muscular, not as muscular as like the Chippendales guys. They weren't all like tanned out and all that kind of stuff. Um and then there was a calendar of like hot Hawaiian guys or something. I don't remember what it was called. I still have that one. I don't know why I kept it. It's in the back of something. It's like a sketchbook or like a portfolio book or something. There's like the back of a book or something where I keep that calendar, or like some sheet music or something. Every now and then there's something that somewhere where I keep it, where every now and then I see it in the back. So I know it's there, and I kept it, and it's all like back there because when I was younger it was like hidden. I don't even know what I think about that kind of stuff now. But it was kind of funny. That I had these pictures. It was probably like a 3-year stretch, maybe or so, that I had these pictures of like shirtless guys on my walls and stuff. And there were pictures that I liked more than others. And I think that's probably why I kept the Hawaiian one. I probably found some of them attractive. I really don't remember. I think that's why though. I did kind of like it more. As far as the 3 calendars I got, I think that was the one I liked the most. I don't think I've looked at it lately. I think those guys are kind of young. They're like in their 20s, which is, I'm pretty sure they're legal age, but I mean, now they're probably my age. I mean, you know, they're probably like 40. But I mean, yeah, it's, I've had situations like that where it's like, my parents had to kind of figure that one out and kind of navigate that. I remember my mom looking at the calendars. Our dogs ran over one of them because we used to have dogs, and like, you know, we would get our gifts early and put them under the tree, and that one was there kind of like on the floor but under the tree, and the dogs kind of ripped a little hole in it, and because they were running on the floor, and they kind of ran over the calendar and it ripped, and someone in the family was like, oh, the dogs ripped a little hole. And I was curious if it really was a dog or if it was just someone else who was like trying to peek. And I remember when I first got it, you know, like you could see like flesh and like muscle. I mean, I didn't know what this calendar had fully on it, but the friend I got it from, I was like, we would get each other things where I was like, oh man, like, it's kind of embarrassing to open it in front of your parents, but it's like I kind of knew what it was. And it was there for like at least weeks, and we were kind of all giggling about it, me and my siblings or whoever. We would kind of giggle about it before I had to open it, and then I opened it, and my mom kind of takes it from me right away just to like screen it and look and make sure it's not like any like fully naked guys, like to make sure it's like household appropriate for me to like hang on my wall. And I hung that freaking thing on my wall. I had Chippendales on my wall. Um, that was probably the first thing I ever did that was like some kind of acknowledgement of some kind of attraction toward something or someone or like some form of an interest other than the obsession I used to have with the band Immature and who's it? Marcus Houston, who used to play Roger on Sister Sister, and him as a singer, Batman in the group. I think they're called IMX. I don't even know if they exist anymore. I don't know if they had a scandal, but I used to be like obsessed with that group, and he was my favorite one. But when you think about these guys, it's like they kind of have this like femme quality to them, this kind of androgyny to them, like pop stars kind of, especially the young age, well, older age ones too, but the young age ones, they kind of have this like, they try to get like girls like into them and stuff. Like they want like to be like a heartthrob and all that. Like I was kind of into some of that teeny bop stuff when I was like a teenager and when I was a teenager and when I was like in my 20s. But yeah, it was just kind of funny. In a way, it was a little bit funny that I forgot almost about that I had those half naked men on my walls, and that I kept one of the calendars. I still have it to this day. So it's just kind of a funny little thing because it's like, who would have known? But I think it was. I still think that doesn't like disqualify anything. It's just like an interesting, fun fact. Now I don't have those kind of posters on my walls anymore. I used to have pinups all over my walls and stuff of like whatever kind of pop stars I was into. It was mostly the boy ones, like mostly Immature, and then from I think I had a couple crisscross ones, and who else? There was like this. They sang that song Blackberry Molasses. I used to think they were kind of cute. I can't remember. But it's like they had like lipstick on and stuff. Like when you look at them, they're so like groomed. Like they're not super like mask guys. None of those kind of like their image isn't, and that was something that I liked in pop stars. Like you don't see that too much outside of like queer culture. You don't really see a lot of straight men wearing lip gloss and having their hair all like I don't know. They had a very effeminate look to them somewhat. And that was something I do remember always kind of appreciating that about pop stars. I kind of did like pop star kind of celebrity guys because of the way they had that like femininity to them. I liked that. That was something like that was something that appealed to me with them. So I don't think I even like caught that. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, I like guys, and it's just like, well, how come they all have to look like this, like, like it wasn't like just any guy, like even the guys I've ever been interested in, the cis straight men that I've ever had any kind of interest in, have always had like very feminine qualities to them, like socially, emotionally, just as far as like the gentleness, the sensitivity, the compassion. Just kind of soft spoken. They might be like good at sports and like good at stuff, athletic, like good looking, tall, attractive guys, but they weren't like macho types of guys. I've never been attracted to that kind of energy out of a man. And then with women it can vary more, but I would say I might have an issue with the stud if they were like a super stud, kind of like super extra, I guess if you say high femme, a high stud, like someone who's I don't know if that's even a term, but like someone who's like ultra studly. Um Ooh, these people are making some crazy turns and almost getting in accidents. Someone who's super like aggressive, not really a lot of femininity to their look, not really a lot of femininity to their personality, and just kind of trying to be like super macho. I don't really like that super macho attitude. I don't mind masculinity. It's not something I dislike. It's not something I find attractive. I like both the masculine and the feminine. But how I like it is it varies because there's so much variety. Um, I I don't think I could do. I don't think I'd really be too attracted outside of maybe the physical to anybody who's like super femme, like super high femme prissy personality, or super high mask, super macho personality. Those are two extremes that I could hang out with people like that and we would probably get along, but I don't think I would want that as far as like someone to consider dating. Like either person, it would not be something that I'm attracted to fully if they were like so far in the other direction, you know, um, all the time about like every single possible topic. There has to be some, at least a little bit. But yeah, I've noticed when it comes to like genders, like a person's actual gender identity, I I kind of like having both the masculine and the feminine. So if someone were to ask me out that was masculine or feminine, like the way that they looked, the way that they dressed, or whatever, I don't think I'd be offended by it. Um, I I just think I'd have to get to know the person, and once I got to know them, I would kind of realize if there was maybe if it's too polarized, I'm not comfortable in that. Because that means that that would make it so that I would have to be that other polarized end. I feel like if I'm with someone who's too like ultra mask, then I have to be like ultra femme. Like there's some stuff that in a household somebody has to do it. Somebody has to take on some of these other roles. You know, um, I wouldn't see myself wanting to be like a homemaker and like staying home and like if it was like maybe like fixing stuff, like okay, like everything in this house is broken, you need to like do renovations while I go out and work and like you know go earn money. I might not mind that as much, like physical renovations and manual labor like that, but if it was just like sweeping and doing dishes and like washing the curtains and stuff and cooking and cleaning and things, like cooking meals and cleaning the dishes and all that, and that was my role, like, oh, have dinner ready when you're home, and I'm not like working outside of the house, I'm not earning, I don't think I'd want that. That's not something that I really want because I like working. I like having career goals. With corporations or with customers or clients of my own, freelancing or whatever, or working for a company. I like that. I don't want to not have that, and I don't plan on necessarily raising kids or anything. So I really wouldn't see myself as desiring to be a homemaker. Um, I don't feel like for myself personally it would be very fulfilling. Um, because I do have a bit of a competitive nature in me as far as like finances, and not like I need to make more money than people, but as far as like I want my finances, I'm competitive in like trying to improve my financial standings and like my savings and all these types of things. And, I'm competitive at work, not with other people. I'm not trying to like do bad, like, compete with other people, but I like to reach goals for like, especially team. I like team goals. I'm really into that. Like, we have a team and then everyone has to do their part and reach their goals. And I like that. I don't really like, um, let's see who's the top at the list, and who's the better person. I don't want to be like who's better, who's not better. Um, I don't want to be getting like reprimanded for being at the bottom either. And I don't want to be like teacher's pet. But, I like to do a good job. I like to work. I like to meet people. I like to be engaged with colleagues, and I like professional development and all that kind of stuff. Like, I was raised basically going to school for so long. Like, that was something I enjoyed. I enjoyed school and studying and like courses and classmates and professors, and I like that kind of thing. And that world kind of sets you up for working in a career field of some form. Like after you've been through grad school, you kind of, there's nothing wrong with being a homemaker, but it's like most people who go to grad school aren't like aspiring to be a homemaker. Maybe unless you have kids and you're staying home with the kids, but I can't see myself if I was like with someone in a relationship, me and one other person, we get a house together and I'm the one who stays home and is maintaining the house, need to have dinner ready on the table. I'll wash the dishes after dinner. I'm the one sweeping and vacuuming and cleaning, and this person's going out and working 8 or more hours a day, and I'm staying home and fixing up the house all day long. I don't think, I mean, the novelty might be interesting at first, but I don't think that would be like something I would aspire to be doing. But I do think it's valuable. I think it's good, but I would need to split, some of the income and the working and some of the housework. I would need that to be split up somehow. Even if it's not 50-50, I couldn't do that comfortably and not feel a certain way about it. Like, it's just not how my mind operates as far as like what I desire. Um and I don't know if I could be with someone who, if they didn't understand that. Um so yeah. So I have said a lot. Um that's about all I've got left to kind of say about some of these topics. Um I don't know why my sinuses are weird today. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about those topics. I don't really know. But yeah, I'm uh I'm just hoping that, you know, just contributing some content, just trying to post some stuff. I thought that topic was kind of interesting. It was the most interesting LGBT relevant topic I've come across today. So, alright, guys, with that, thanks for listening.